Hello everyone. Welcome back to Naira Black Market TV, your go-to spot for the latest parallel market rates. Let's quickly run through how the Naira performed this week on the streets. On Monday morning, the US dollar opened at N1 540 to N1 560. The euro held strong at N1 765 to N1 1790. The pound was steady at N2 080 to N2 1120, while the Canadian dollar traded at N1 1116 to N1 1130. By the afternoon, the dollar's selling price eased slightly to N1 1558. The euro dipped on the buy side to N 1760, while the pound and Canadian dollar remained stable. In the evening, the dollar's buy rate held steady, but the pound's selling rate fell to N2 110, hinting at mild selling pressure. On Tuesday morning and afternoon, the market held steady across the board, with the dollar at N 1540 to N 1558, and the pound at N 2080 to N 2110. In the evening, the dollar's buy rate ticked up to N 1545, and the Canadian dollar buying price rose to N 120, showing light demand. On Wednesday morning, the dollar buy rate stayed at N 1545, with a firmer sell at N 1560. The Canadian dollar traded at N 1120 to N 1130. By the afternoon, the dollar slipped slightly to N 1540 to N 1555, while the Canadian dollar dropped to N 1116 to N 1127. In the evening, both rebounded, with the dollar back to N 1545 to N 1560, and the Canadian dollar to N 120 to N 1130. On Thursday morning and afternoon, sideways trading continued, with the dollar at N 1545 to N 1560. In the evening, the dollar edged up to N 1546. The euro buying rate improved to N 1763, and the pound rallied to N 2085 to N 2130. On Friday morning, the dollar held at N 1546 to N 1560. The euro rose to N 1765, with a sell at N 1800, and the pound stayed at N 2085 to N 2130. By the afternoon, the dollar slipped to N 1540 to N 1555, and the Canadian dollar softened to N 1116 to N 1127. In the evening, the dollar ended the week weaker at N 1539 to N 1555, and the Canadian dollar dipped to N 1115, signaling mild Naira recovery into the weekend. Current market data shows the US dollar at N1 539 to N 1555, slightly weaker than the week's high of N1 546. The euro is at N 1765 to N 1800, up from N 1760. The pound is at N 2085 to N 2130, holding gains from midweek. The Canadian dollar is at N 1115 to N 1127, down from its midweek high of N 1130. Technical analysis shows the dollar oscillating in a tight range, with resistance at N 1546 and support at N 1540. The euro is in a gradual upward trend. The pound is holding after a midweek breakout, and the Canadian dollar remains in a sideways channel. Smart money activity suggests liquidity grabs in the dollar near N 1546, accumulation in the euro, and premium pricing in the pound. Chart patterns include a symmetrical triangle for the dollar, an ascending channel for the euro, cup and handle for the pound, and a descending wedge for the Canadian dollar. Elliott wave counts indicate the dollar in a wave 4 correction, the euro in a strong wave 3 impulse, the pound starting a wave 3 surge, and the Canadian dollar still in a corrective ABC pattern. Fundamentals show slight Naira strength from FX inflows, euro gains from Eurozone trade data, pound support from a hawkish Bank of England, and Canadian dollar weakness from lower oil prices. Looking ahead, the dollar may rebound to N1 550 to N 1553 before retesting N 1540. The euro could break N 1770. The pound might retest N 2100, and the Canadian dollar may recover to N 1120. The trade strategy favors short-term dollar sells near N1546, holding euro longs to N1770, using trailing stops on pound positions, and buying Canadian dollar dips near N1115. In conclusion, the week was largely sideways with minor volatility. The euro and pound showed strength, the Canadian dollar softened, and the dollar faces stiff resistance at N1546. Next, week will reveal whether it breaks this consolidation or the Naira's recovery continues. To stay tuned for fresh updates and market updates, hit the subscribe button and stay connected to Naira Black Market TV. See you in the next update. Do have a nice day.